You are listening to the Maje tic Mindz podcast.
Yo, what is good to the beautiful people on the other side, United States, other side of the world, wherever the fuck you are? Welcome to the Maje tic Mindz podcast. I'm your host, Morgan on the beat, and I'm here with a special guest. He is a part of 88 Music. He has an upcoming single come around January. Good friends with PayPay Freeman. Respect to PayPay Freeman. And he is going to be, what is it? You're donating to Save the Children, and
That's right, yeah.
awesome.
It's basically just it's that starting out right now.
That's cool. That's cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Lvanov. Is that how you say your last name?
That was close, man. I go by Ali Ivanov, but it's cool. I know it's kind of tough to pronounce. It's also kind of a new name. I'm down to get into it a little bit, kind of how the name originated, because it's not really, in all honesty, it's not the name that I was born with, but it's more of a kind of a stage name that's becoming more of like a, I don't know, I'm getting more attached to it and everything. And it's been part of this journey that I'm starting now with this foundation I'm starting as well. So yeah, it's all really fun, all new stuff.
Yeah, that's usually how most people start. Like, my name is Morgan. It's actually my last name and what most of my peers, instructors, and teachers and friends call me. But, like, it serves as, like, a name to my heritage among the music business, Morgan heritage, and then just being a Morgan in the music family. But enough about me. Let's hear about what's cracking with your music. How did you get into music, and how did you become a part of 88 Music Official?
Yeah, so the music, I've always been into music, I've always been a fan of, all types of music growing up. And then I think I really discovered hip hop and stuff, and like R&B and jazz music and old school hip hop. I was always into that too. And like Nas and Jay-Z, and then later on like Eminem, and I found out about the white rappers and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm white, I guess I could rap too. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I was like, you know what? There were people definitely who gave me inspiration to just try it, and it came around the same time in high school. I was studying poetry in school. It was just like one of those English classes. You do like a small little like subject on it, and you move on from poetry. But I really liked it, and I liked the fact that you can write in so many different ways with different rhyme schemes. You can even write poetry that doesn't rhyme, but as long as it's like painting a picture, sending a message, or something like that, it's doing its job. And so I just fell in love with that, and so I started to write my own lyrics and stuff, and then I would want to put them over like instrumentals. So I'd look on YouTube, for instrumentals, and then find basically the background music, like the backing tracks to popular songs I knew, and just kind of do remixes of my own. And then I started to find out kind of how to record and stuff through my laptop. I just have like a MacBook for college stuff, and then I found out I have GarageBand on it, started working with that. And it's just been a snowball, honestly. Just like, I started off it was all really cringy music. You could still say some of the stuff that I made today is like, not exactly radio playable, but I'm trying to get to that point. I'm trying to just kind of work on my craft, and yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a lot of growth in the process, and I've made a lot of friends doing it, and a lot of people inspired me along the way too. And I'd like to say that I inspired some of my friends to kind of just work out creatively. And that's what it really comes down to. I'm just having a lot of fun creating and making these songs and stuff, and for people to enjoy. And a lot of it I try to make, just uplifting, motivational, kind of speak on what I go through in life. I don't have like the hardest life out there or anything, but I feel like, all of us go through our own things, and it's good to talk about it. And so that's just all leading up to, I do have a single coming out on January 1st. It's going to be called Cuisine. And then I have a few EPs already out, an album of soundtracks, tracks that I made from GarageBand that are just instrumentals. And that's kind of what I started with. It was before I had to build up the courage to release my songs with words and everything, with lyrics. So that's kind of, the background of how I got started in music.
That's great, man. That's great. Usually, Funny enough, I made my start on Music Maker, then BandLab, and I started going to other areas, but primarily I still use BandLab today because it's so versatile. Like I made some of my best songs there. Believe it or not, Maje tic Mindz formed on BandLab in June of 2020, and that's where we made our start. So, with having you making instrumentals, meeting great people, how did you get involved with the 88 music brand, meeting PayPay Freeman and all that?
Oh yeah, so that happened really recently. I was only releasing music on SoundCloud for a while before I made a DistroKid, and through DistroKid it kind of helps you publish music everywhere. And so my friend had told me about DistroKid. I just didn't really know which direction I wanted to go with the music, and then I kind of took some time to figure that out, and then started releasing everything kind of more, I want to say professionally, but it's not professional yet. It's just kind of the best I do with like the resources I have right now. And then I just got really lucky by PayPay Freeman reaching out. I've had a couple people, just saying, hey, listen to some of your tracks. You got great potential and stuff. It would be like some radio hosts and just smaller people that follow music and have like music pages. And I thought he was, somebody like that. I didn't really check at first to see if he made music. And then I went to his link tree and then I just heard some of his songs. I was like, this is cool. He was based out of Arizona too. And I think I ended up getting in touch with him. I followed him because he was following Valley Club Records. And when I first made my Instagram, I was following a lot of people from that account because it's a studio recording place, and pretty sure it's in Scottsdale, and that's pretty close to where my home is. So I think we got connected that way, and then he was just saying, hey, I like music and everything, and then we got in talks about working together because he said he has this collective of artists with 88 Music, and so we kind of just worked something out. And now I told him about this foundation I'm starting, this nonprofit, and he really liked that idea, and so now I'm collabing with them with 88 Music for they're collabing with the $1 Foundation. So, and that's my foundation. It's still in the development stages, but I think it's good. I think it's a good thing that's happening there with us.
Yeah, that sounds really, really awesome. How did I meet him? I met him when it wasn't that long ago. I think I met him when I had that interview with Jay Badge. No. Damn. We'll talk about it later. My memory's like super fuzzy right now. I gotta get some sleep.
Yeah, that's cool.
But being part of the 88 Music brand, what do you guys look forward to doing? Do you guys look forward to, like, what is your purpose in the 88 brand? Are you trying to, like, make more artists to work with? Are you trying to bring awareness? Are you a non-profit organization? How has the 88 Music brand been with you, or is that too early to ask?
It's not too early to ask because I think they kind of have those details at least, like, planned out partially. I don't know how fully they have it planned out. For close details on like specific projects that are coming up, I always refer to PayPay. He's always up to date on stuff and updating me, and he's really kind of him and I think a couple of his friends are running the label, so they really have all the answers. And I'm in like an unofficial partnership with them, so I'm not really signed to any contracts or anything, but we're just collabing. And I'm home right now. I hoped I could get into this last studio session they did, but I had my dad's birthday, so I was busy. But they did a 12-hour session where they had a bunch of the artists come in, just at their own time, and then they had 12 hours to just make hits and make good songs and stuff. And then there's also this empowerment speaker. He's like a positive, motivational speaker, and he's about my age. I went to high school with him. His name is James. He goes by Juju now. I think it's Coach Juju Beans on Instagram, but he has really great, motivational and positive words, and I was able to get them in contact, and he stopped by the studio and gave a nice speech about positivity, motivation. It was great. I think they're going to make that kind of like an intro kind of a good part of what they're doing too. And so, I think as a whole, our idea is to just go for positivity and growth, like as individuals as well as a collective. And hopefully we'll be making a project soon that's a compilation of all the artists, so that anybody who comes across us can get a taste of all the different talents that we have, because there's a lot. I don't know exactly how many artists are signed, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between 15 and 25. So we have a good amount of, and the really interesting part about it that really grabbed my attention too was that we have artists of all different genres. You know, it's not just rap, it's not just trap or drill music, or it's not just singing. We have a mix of everything. And so with that much talent there that's concentrated like that, we really need to sit down together and I think meet more together and just think of some cohesive ideas we can do, like some projects we can do all together that, you know, complements our strengths.
Yeah, definitely. I can attest to that and say that he has a lot of people. You are aware of the upcoming album because he asked me and my group personally to have a track, and we're going to be featured on the album. I really don't know.
Oh, no way.
No, yeah, it's so exciting. We're on this track called Misfits, and the beat is straight fucking fire. Now, I don't know if it's copyrighted, but it's probably not, so I can't share it in this episode. But for anyone listening,
I did see Misfits as the under the list of songs because he
posted on his Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he had this whole list on his Instagram of the artist who was featured with him, and I think you could see our names there. Sorry, did I interrupt or anything?
No, you're good.
He had this whole list of artists that were featured, and this Misfits song is it's fucking fire. I can't wait for that song to come out. I know my boys are gonna cook that shit up real fucking good, and it's gonna be awesome. I believe it's coming out in January, or at the very least, early spring. Look forward to that. But,
as far as the album, I'm pretty sure, I think they're still deciding whether to release it on the 1st of January or February 1st. I'm hoping they just drop it on January, whatever they got, because it's just really exciting, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure how fast they work, but I just hope everyone involved can be the best that they can be and just offer whatever really, really speaks about their style, and I just hope it really turns out great. Well, it's PayPay Freeman. I know it's going to turn out great. So about you being with the 88 Music brand and then helping with other artists, how do you feel about being the face of your music? And well, let's start small. With Maje tic Mindz, we're basically about consciousness, healing, spirituality, being independent, and just basically relieving yourself of basically the bullshit, propaganda, and just all bad things in this planet, and just being self-reliant. Now, when it comes to your music, and you mentioned about saving the children, and you're basically donating to local communities and trying to help people more, what are you using the music as like a way to basically levitate yourself to that position, or music is another way you want to communicate and help people with?
Wow, that's a great question. Wow, that's really good. So I think, it's like a 50-50 for me, because let's say when I started music, it wasn't to, promote any like philanthropy per se. It was more of like, I'll be honest, when I first started music, I had a whole different approach to it, and I was thinking, I want to be famous, I want to, go viral or something with a song. So I had a completely different approach to how I wrote lyrics and wrote songs, and it was less full of substance. It was just more crass and just like immature for sure. And so I think I've matured more as a songwriter and stuff, into just more having a direction and ideas and then writing those out. So now it's I can write about like the foundation and just what I'm doing and stuff. I feel pretty confident in that, and I have some music that is actually very related to it. Off the top of my head, I just had another EP just released called Unity, and there's a song in there called Turn It to a Band. And the whole idea was, that song was based on when I first came up with the $1 foundation idea, sorry. And I was thinking, what's a way that we can donate and reach big fundraising goals without having to, give too much individually. It's like $1 at a time. I mean, theoretically, yeah, we can get there. We can turn $1 into a bank, $1,000, right? So it was kind of based on that. And there's a couple other songs too. Actually, No Problems is another song from that same EP, Unity. And that addresses kind of just a more like idealistic view of what I want to do. I talk about wanting to kind of flip a neighborhood that's run down, and that, you know, it's like a hood that people want to leave, but what if we could turn it around and make it somewhere where people want to stay instead? And so, yeah, I can take those kind of things and translate it, you know, it translates into what I'm doing. And then at the same time, I have some songs that are just feel good songs and things I didn't make to send any sort of like call to action message. It's more just like a song you put on to vibe to, you know? So I think I have like to answer your question, kind of like a spread of both.
Oh, cool. Because, like, when you really manifest your, sorry, your message and how you really want to go about it, you want to be really creative, but in a way, just like you mentioned, call to action, which reminds me, we recently just released, because just like as you mentioned, sorry, I'm trying to stay on track. You mentioned that you have a project about unifying people, right? And coming together.
Yeah, that's the most recent one, actually.
Yeah, because like we have a similar concept going on with our album that's supposed to be releasing next year. This year we had a little multimedia series where basically we go to different parts of the world, basically Japan, Iran, the Savannah, UK, and Brazil. We just basically cover the cultures, share some artwork, talk about their fiercest warriors, but in a unified way, because we really want to like have like a unified connection and just bring in fans from all over the world. And it's been great so far, and it's really going to pay off when this whole One Love album drops next year. But for
sorry, do you mind if I ask about that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's really interesting. I was just wondering, for like Maje tic Mindz, how big is your group? Is it like a collective as well? Do you have like a group that's for it, or?
Yeah. It's more of a collective. We do have at least 4 prominent members, me being the founder, and then my 3 other friends. But it's more like we'll work with anybody in position, anyone in any lead roles, or just let people like, because we are a collective, but like we like to like have people have creative freedom, because that's all we're really about.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
That's really cool. Is that going to be the first album you guys put out?
No, our first album, and this may be very controversial, but our first album released in July 4th of 2020, titled Maje tic Mindz, but spelled it was in the original way, but later on we had to change the name for a brand because another group had the same name, and you know where that goes. But yeah, it was basically about finding your obligation and being able to really just live through life among basically the hardest of times, or having your whole world shut down. Because the thing with the pandemic is that like it was a very, very heavy perspective that I don't think a lot of people are really ready for, because during that time we weren't sure if it was really going to end. We weren't sure if anyone was really going to survive, or like if things would be the same ever again, because like you would hear the new normal and all that other crap. And I remember finishing a project in school and just seeing people, all my friends over social media, freaking about how like life will never be the same. They probably won't make it. And I was like, it doesn't really have to be that way, because like, sure, it's a deadly virus, but like if you stay healthy and take good care of yourself, like chances are you may survive. And I'm not like a psychologist or a health expert, just like that's usually the best way to fight off diseases and infections. I was like, I gotta do something about that shit. Called my boys, made some music, and yeah, the first album was released.
Oh, that's really cool. I think I had seen that. Sorry, I probably should have checked out your page a bit more. I just listened to a few of like the popular tracks you had, and it was like I heard the Harb Alsahrá, I think.
Harb Alsahrá, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that one. It was just an instrumental, I think, right?
It is for now. There's a version where I put in a vocal sample from a Middle Eastern singer by the name of Andrea Crux. I can't wait for you to hear. In fact, that's the version that's on YouTube right now. And I put a link in for Save the Children of the Middle East in Eurasia. So if anyone ever checks out the music video, please donate. We're going to be sharing that link a lot more often. And we want to help the kids and the people in the area as much as possible.
For sure. That's really good. I didn't realize you guys had a YouTube as well. I'm going to go ahead and follow that. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Because like we're not very big, we don't have a lot of money, but like taking steps to the right direction can make big changes, and we really want to be a part of that. Just like how you mentioned you wanted to do something for Save the Children. Also, feel free to talk more about that. I said too much about this group already. This is your episode, man.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I was asking about it. I was interested. But yeah, I am excited to talk about that. It's kind of the biggest development we've had so far. As far as, well, I say we, it's kind of just me. I have just a couple of my friends that just support me enough to want to, help me with it, give advice or, tips or something they feel like they could be helpful, and they usually are. But I was talking to my sister yesterday about what I could do to get started and make like an impact, a real impact. And so it just like you were saying too with your collective, it's like we're small right now. I don't have a lot of operating, revenue or any money to start with, but that can change over time. And I think all I have to do is put in the work solo. And I think so. I was having trouble deciding where to start, and I think the best place to start is just at my home, around my home, and seeing how I can help out. And so my plan is to kind of just go around to homeless shelters and stuff, and then maybe because there's not too much of a homeless problem here in Phoenix, there's a little bit, but where I'm going to school is in Spokane, Washington, and if you don't know, they have a pretty sizable homeless population, and so you'll find people on the street more. So that was part of the reason I wanted to help too. Is just like I saw people in need, and I thought, who else is in need, and what's the most vulnerable population? And to me, I think it's just underprivileged children, and part of what I want to work towards is helping with just families that are stricken with poverty in the U.S. I think I want to start in the U.S. for sure, and more specifically, kind of in my hometown and around my area, and just do small projects. The first of which, when I go back up to Spokane after this winter break, it's going to be in about a week and a half. I've been saving dollar donation just by going up to people asking if they want to donate if they have $1 in cash to donate to charity. Sometimes they ask what it's for, but half the time they didn't, and they just felt in a good enough mood, I guess, so they're ready to donate to a charity. And I think it helps just to ask for $1 at a time. I'm really not asking for much, and I'm not asking really for anyone to give $1 multiple times, but that will be an option. I have like kind of subscriptions that are in the works on just to make it easier and make it more automated, because basically it goes $1 at a time does help a lot, but it helps even more if it's a repeated donation. That way it just grows exponentially what we raise, and it's all going to one thing right now. I wanted to make sure that was very intended. We have Save the Children. I could have maybe 50 nonprofits that I'm helping sponsor, but part of it right now too is I'm getting permission. I emailed a representative from the marketing team at Save the Children, so as soon as I get the go-ahead from them, which I'm praying for, everybody please pray for me, I get that go-ahead from them, because all I need is them to allow that, and then I can just give all the proceeds to them and hopefully work something out there. But basically it's starting with small projects like buying a homeless man an outfit, taking him to go shopping at the mall, thinking H&M, have him just walk in there, hand him some money to buy himself something nice, and just make his day any way we can. And so starting with that, and then hopefully just growing bigger and bigger, just a snowball effect, just like the music has gone for me, just we're growing every day.
Dude, that sounds fucking awesome. I honestly wish I could relate. Because like I'm not homeless, but like I'm not living in a mansion. I'll tell you that. But like it doesn't really hurt to just really help people, especially when like the employment the data regarding employment has been like skyrocketing like crazy, and the pricing on the housing market is it's ridiculous. Shit, I don't have to study, and I don't want anyone to take this with as a reliable source, so please take this with a grain of salt. But it's been speculated that basically a majority of Gen Z, and I think even millennials, won't really be able to purchase their own home by the time they're 30. So with that in your mind, just like and just like the rate of homeless people have also been skyrocketing, with men being the most in I think men by far, like 93% are like the most homeless. And you hear about basically homeless people in the streets of California, and then how they're making like homeless, or just basically structures that prevent people from laying there. And it's just so fucked up. Like, I don't take it lightly when I say the industrial or the technological version of the Industrial Revolution has its consequences, and we're seeing a lot of that lately. Like, when you look at basically the work conditions in China, and like how people are literally overworked to death. Like, my God, and the labor there is incredibly cheap. So just trying to really help these people out and just bring awareness to a situation really can. Because, like, sure, you're not really in the field, you're not getting your hands dirty, but just like taking the time to make people aware of it and doing help, or just help, even donating, as you said, can really do a lot for people, man. It's just, we gotta do better. We gotta do better.
Exactly. I agree with all that too. There's harsh conditions kind of everywhere in the world, like even places in America, like in Hollywood, like somewhere you think it's only success and, you know, rainbows and sprinkles. And, you know, it's not always that way. There's things that are going on behind the scenes. There's more than 99 problems that we have to account for just worldwide. And I just feel like I'm ready to tackle this one issue kind of. And also, if I can help at all put a dent in the homeless situation in the U.S., and I feel like that's enough for now. I feel like that's as much as I can do. I think a lot of the problem too, a lot of the planning was sped up by me kind of taking, you know, letting go of certain directions I was holding on to. I was being pulled in all these different directions, trying to decide where to put my efforts and my time and doing something charitable. But then it's like you're looking at 150 different causes, and it's like, these are all important, you know? I want to help all of these out, but what's the one? I need to pick one, and I narrowed it down to save the children.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was trying to think if I forgot to add anything. I kind of touched on everything, and then just like if you're curious about anything, I'm always ready to answer questions.
I think I was adding on to it because we're trying to do things locally and just more outwardly, but at the same time we don't have a very high budget. We're very small, so we're just bringing awareness any way we can. We're trying to unify people and just talk more controversial topics in our One Love album next year, which, by the way, has a total of 17 artists are at least confirmed right now, so it's going to be fucking huge. And I'm going to lose even more money, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's a give and take for sure right there. Sometimes it's so worth it. You don't always know, so it's a risk too. But yeah, exciting.
Yeah, definitely. But in the meantime, because, like, the thing about being an artist nowadays is that there's just so much. Because, like, when you look at mainstream artists today and then artists back then, even if it was extremely narcissistic, vain, or just incredibly shallow, being an artist, especially going about, like, what the purpose of it was. Like, you could just be an entertainer, but an entertainer with a message. You know what I mean? Like how you could listen to, like, rock, metal, and then 90s hip-hop, and then 90s R&B. We're, like, trying to convey a message or some sort of value. It's like, there's, like, pride, but not just pride. It's like, people are actually trying to teach you something. And then nowadays, what does music even teach you? The same narcissistic bullshit, taking drugs, cheating on your significant other, making money, getting jewelry, getting hoes, and I'm just so sick of it.
Yeah, I think it's a big conversation that needs to be, like, it needs to be talked about more, how the culture is being designed to be that way, and kind of, there's a lot of talented artists who come into a label and they start out with a completely different, at least this is my understanding of it, on what's happening, on like stories I've heard and interviews I've watched on people who seem to know kind of the insides and out of like the music business, is they'll have all these ideas and creative stuff, and this is part of my fear, is kind of like, you know, I don't really consider myself good enough, at least yet, to be, you know, working for a major label or anything like that. But let's say I did have the potential and like the talent and everything, I would be worried that my creative direction and everything, and just like things being of my design, is going to be taken out of my control, just because I'm being paid enough, to kind of being paid off to just, you know, I have like a certain voice that they want for a rap song, so they write me a song already and stuff, and I just been forced to do it because I signed into this contract, you know. I think more mainstream artists that we are in the conversation today, like, I want to say when Rich the Kid was on his label and stuff, I think he was being done wrong for sure, and just like, I think that part of the And when we see artists that have a lot of potential and then we see them fall into the mainstream sort of thing, like I feel like DaBaby was kind of a good example of this. I feel like he was a breakout artist, sounded different from everyone in the new generation, and kind of brought like this old, like hardcore, rap to the scene where it's like, it reminded me of 50 Cent almost kind of thing. And then Pop Smoke too. But it's like, and then I kind of started seeing his like latest album and stuff. I just see their personal lives also get a lot in the way with the music if they're not doing things right and if they don't really have things in order. So there's like a lot of factors that I think are leading into that. This music sounding, with the same message and everything. And it's just because it's the money makers, I guess. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew.
I say a lot of, well, it's not really a dark secret, but there's a dark business behind it. Is that like basically it's a major business scheme to basically monetize of whatever the art. Because the thing about labels is like their whole point is to basically utilize the talent of the artist to basically say like make money off their music, promote an agenda, sell concert tickets, whatever the scheme may be. The whole point is basically to utilize your talent to make money and just make money for the label. There's like a whole team of promoters, the people who make the beats, the people who shoot the music videos, etc. It's a very big music business that I highly suggest, especially if you're an independent artist in 2022, do not sign to any of them, because once you do, you lose control of not only your work, but your leverage over your music. And they're getting desperate. I sure know. I've had these huge labels and even a big artist. I'm not going to say whose name it is because I already mentioned them and I don't want to taint their name further out of respect, but they are getting desperate lately. And all I can say is just keep doing you and just keep control of your music and just what you're about. Even if you hit it big one day, do not lose sight of where you came from and what your message is about. And that's what Maje tic Mindz is trying to hold on, man. We will hold on to that for as long as we can. Because we want to help people. We don't want to promote basically gang violence, getting hoes, and just getting things that have because it's just vain materialistic bullshit. It won't matter when like you leave the planet one day, or just when you're going through a tough time, or just when you have nothing, because all it is just materialistic bullshit. That's all it really is.
It is. It's exactly that. It's the material stuff that makes it keep working, because once you sign to a major label and you're offered all this money, you'll want to spend that money right away, and you'll want to, put in expenses and get iced out with everything, all of the jewelry. And they'll have the record labels, as far as I know, they'll help you kind of fit into whatever lifestyle that you saw for yourself. And then I think that just really is reflecting in the music. You just are hearing what they see and what they're living, because like they're not really able to do too much outside of that. Once they're in that lifestyle, like Lil Baby, I think about Lil Baby, I'm like, what does this man do besides just rap in the studio and then just kind of like buy jewelry and cars and stuff? And it's like, he must not have that much time, to be like chasing after, I don't know what he might want to do in life, but maybe there's something he wants to accomplish that's non-related to music, and who knows if he'll ever have time to do that until, like he retires, because this is just his life now. It's kind of crazy.
It really is. Also, mad respect to Lil Baby. I really respect his grind and how he really emphasizes hard work and come out the hood with his music. Whoa is like my favorite song from him ever. That's like my theme song. And just like the the orchestration of just the piano, just like it's such a heavy song. Have you heard that song?
No, I don't think it's just called Whoa.
Yeah, just Whoa. It released in November of 2019 on my birthday, which is so like it's like it was like the song was made for me in a way.
Oh, nice.
Where it's such a powerful song, man. And that's exactly what I want to do with music. I really, really want music to just not only to just emphasize really your feeling and your ambition, but to just really carry you and just move forward. And music just hardly does that nowadays. And it's like when you look at these artists, they're like, there's so many actors, man. And then when they really try to be about that shit and then people call them out on it, they fold real quick because they're so scared to just lose what they have. It's really sad. Because like you really gotta be about the things that you really say. And like, well, we don't really say talk about gun violence in my music or my group's music, we really are about reaching your ambitions and manifesting it into reality. I know I am about that shit. My group is about that shit. I don't miss a day where like I find ways to just promote my music, find new ways to create content, because you really have to be on that grind to make that manifestation a reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges as personally I've been working with is I think I have the lyrical content kind of up to par with my expectations now, and I'm still working on that. I'm trying to write as often as I can, but also not burn myself out. But the biggest thing I'm trying to achieve is, and this will help a lot when I get into a real studio. I've actually never been in a real studio and recorded. I've only kind of worked out of my room with just like my laptop and a mic. But to be able to make a song that makes you really feel something, like I want to just capture that in a lot of different ways, like, and capture a lot of different emotions. And I'm thinking actually of doing a project. There's a little spoiler to it here. You're hearing it first. But I want to do an album that's based off like just human emotions, and just titling the songs after, you know, emotions that we feel, and then just making songs that go with each one that just like perfectly fits to it and anybody can relate to. That's kind of like the next big step. It's a challenge though.
It usually is, because like whatever it be, like writing albums or a single, and there's like a certain idea you want to share with people, a message, or like hell, even an agenda, but I have no means to create an agenda. This is just an example. You really have to be very insightful about your creative process and where you take inspiration from. Like mainly when we make music, or when I make a song for the group, or even myself, I just look at basically a certain message I want to convey, take inspiration from it, and just create it in a similar tone, not exactly the same, but in a similar tone, because like you gotta be careful where you get your blueprint from, you know, and just be really creative about how you go about it. Like when I made Harb Alsahrá, which is Arabic and it translates to basically desert war. It's basically about war among the Middle East that's basically fought for to preserve peace, you know, as way as like to basically have the US and the Middle East basically trading partners, or I would just say like basically it was the US's way trying to preserve peace in the Middle East, which was stated, but obviously that wasn't the case, because like there's been numerous amounts of bombings, hundreds of people killed, and then there's the occupation, or not occupation, the conflict of Israel and Palestine, and the US has done little to just help Palestine, while Israel gets donated like what $400 million every year. And I've also been reading articles about like one of the first things the US soldiers have done while arriving in that region is literally destroy artifacts or ancient artifacts that like date back to like the early times of their history there. I'll make sure, so no one calls me out on it, to provide sources of those articles in the description of this episode, because I'm not making this shit up. That really happened. And I wanted to bring awareness within the music video that I made, which you saw on YouTube on the Maje tic Mindz channel, that basically war shouldn't be used as a means to preserve peace. War should be used as a reaction to basically fend off like oppression or just conflict. I prefer war in general to just never be used, or better things should just fend off oppression, your attackers, and just other way. It should be a last resort. And that's the point of Harb Alsahrá. And to help out and bring awareness, I provided, as I mentioned before, donate to the children in the Middle East and Eurasia with SaveTheChildren.com. And I believe you, Ali, you mentioned that you're raising a fundraiser for Save the Children as well in your music. Where can that be found? Is that in your link tree? Is that in your bio? I'll be happy to share it.
I just wanted to say real quick too, that's good. Anybody who's a fan of me, if you listen to me and you're hearing Maje tic Mindz and Morgan for the first time, make sure that you go to that video of that Arabic song name. I don't want to mess up the name, but
Harb Alsahrá.
Yeah, make sure you go support that Save the Children link down below, because that's really important. That's kind of part of the whole purpose of it, as I understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, also, anybody's interested, I know we're just telling you to donate to stuff here, but I have a fundraiser. There's only a few days left on it. It's been up for about a month on my Instagram, and it's $100 donation goal to get to for Save the Children. And there's only been $5 donated, and those were my $5, but it's not a big deal. Just if anybody wants to help me get any closer to that, that would be huge. No pressure.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they could definitely, and even if you don't feel like donating, there's other ways you can support. Definitely try to bring awareness about the protests going on in Iran. That's a very, very heavy subject. Recently,
yes,
I covered this in an Instagram post. An artist by the name of Maje tic. I probably didn't say the full name right, but he was recently arrested for basically protesting the Iranian government, and it is unclear of what his fate will be, but there's been talks where he may be prosecuted or basically death by trial, and I don't know where his fate is currently. I've not been keeping update on the news, but it's a very, very sad. Godspeed to Maje tic. We sincerely hope whatever fate his destiny may be, it's just not below the ground. Just hopefully.
Yeah, I hope, make sure if you want to text me that his name after, I'm going to follow up on that story. That's interesting. All I know so far about Iran is the women's rights that they're protesting for. I know that's a big part of what's going on, and kind of just there's like a stronghold on the government because it's ran by extremists, I think Muslim extremists, but I could be wrong. Does that sound right?
No, yeah, definitely. I heard even some of the protesters themselves were prosecuted in the streets. They really don't play when it comes to enforcing law there on that other side. They're very, very, very serious.
It's really tough, like situations like that when the governments get corrupted. We should have, like, as a world, as like the United Nations or something, they should have some sort of fail-safe to keep governments in check. Almost like, you know how regular businesses all around us get audited, like every 6 months to make sure everything's running right. Like, why don't they have audits for the governments, or something like that?
You want to hear something really funny? You hear something really, really just fucking unbelievable, but it's been sitting right in our face. It is literally shit. I probably have to look it up right now, but it is legally within, at least your constitutional right to basically, literally in the Constitution. I'll look it up right now. I'm not kidding. To basically overthrow the government if it becomes too tyrannical. Literally.
Oh, okay. Well, that could... Overthrowing a government in 2022 would be... I'm scared for whoever has to overthrow a government, but it's definitely not going to be peaceful if that happens.
Okay, let me see. Where is it? It says, what does the Constitution say about overthrowing government? That's to secure these rights. Governments are instituted among men, delivering their powers from the consent of the government, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation. And that was just a quick search on Google. I got find like the whole.
What was the condition again? Like if the government becomes what? Then you
okay, so it says that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends. Now, quick disclaimer. I'm not alerting or I'm not instructing anyone to basically go and do what happened on January 6th last year. Please do not by any means. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Please do not by any means go after means to basically disrupt property, disrupt people, or just cause any misconduct or any sort of violence. We're just simply stating information that is already available for everyone to basically access and verify for themselves. But we are not by any ways instructing people, just please don't do that. Just whatever happened on January 6th, don't do it. Just don't. We're just telling you things.
Yeah, I also think spreading awareness is huge. I think it's underrated for sure. I think everybody should know about these issues. I just found out about the Iran situation maybe a couple months ago, but it's been going on for well over a year. And then Iran's always had issues for a while too, but different issues. And just like certain things another thing like in China, I'm pretty sure it's they're called Xinjiang camps. It starts with an X, but it's like Xinjiang internment camps, and they're basically rounding up all the Muslims who live in China, and they're trying to convert them from Islam to whatever, either no religion or whatever religion they follow. But I think that's super inhumane. The ways they're doing it are inhumane, and there's almost nothing that can be done here unless we start with, spreading awareness and then actually coming together and strategizing, like plans of action for it. At the same time, it's like Americans have a lot to deal with too in the States, and that's for me part of the reason why I'm keeping all of my efforts here in the country, because at least to start, I do have plans to go international with it. It all depends how it goes to Save the Children. Like if I can officially partner with them, they're already international, so that'll open up a lot of doors. But I told them that I have plans to just stay in the U.S. right now and help with one of their specific projects, which is poverty in the U.S. They actually have 4 main, categories of causes that you can help out with. One is war and conflict just everywhere in the world, helping children affected by that, helping children affected by climate crisis, as well as I think it's starvation and hunger. And then the last one was poverty in the U.S. And I look at all those and say, they're of equal importance to me. They're all very important and should tended to, but what's the one that I could probably have the most of a contribution to? And that's just kind of what I chose.
Yeah, another way we shouldn't overlook is mental health, and basically having kids raised in a proper household, because and this is a very personal one, but also having your kids raised in a very safe and sound household, because like not only is mental health really looked over, but also mental health and abuse among families, and that's a very, very big one I want to cover about. I really plan to sometime in the future bring more awareness to that, and just like really try to help any institutions or programs that really help with that, because like people have to remember, it's just you're not raising just a top child, your offspring, or a future generation. You're basically looking after a part of, well, not just a part, a member that will contribute to society, nature, basically your country, states, the whole universe basically. And like if it's not done in a proper manner, then like God knows what would happen to that child. So please look into those things the best you can, and just as we're talking about in this episode, bring awareness.
That gives me a good idea too. I think I can also, because this doesn't really take any time out of the other promotion I want to do, but I could also find a hotline. It could just be like, I could do like the non-emergency or emergency line too. Just be like, because there's children, it's not only the children that, like, it's not like I can only care for a certain amount. It's only the ones that are all like struggling and they need help. But it's like, our society is shaped by a lot of things, and that can include, you can be negatively shaped by, like the abuse in your household too, and just like family troubles too, but that doesn't always make them fall into those categories where they would be the children that Save the Children helps. So I would say, just drop a hotline, say if you have any, trouble going on in your home and you need to talk to somebody about it, you don't feel safe in the home, make sure you talk to somebody, and then just have like the number to a hotline or something there. Because it's like more than that. I really do care about mental health too. I want that to be part of what I do. I think that's going to be more of something I talk about on my podcast. I didn't tell you yet, but I'm going to be starting a podcast hopefully soon, hopefully in the next week or so. I think I might do the first episode with my buddy who's in town, but I have like a webcam and I have a mic, so hopefully I can get that set up, and I'm going to call it the Priorities Podcast, and that's kind of just going to be checking in hopefully every week or so, and just going over what our personal priorities are in life, and then what hopefully opening up to a community of people who want to share some aspects of their life, either whether it's things they're struggling with, doing well with, and want to improve further on and stuff like that. And I just want it to be a really community building thing, and strengthening mental health, all staying motivated to do the things we want to do, and making sure that we're well equipped to do that and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really awesome, dude. So many people are doing podcasts nowadays. It's like, it's one of the, well, I'll be honest, I'm fairly new to this as well, but I'd say just when you feel ready, you got a good mic set up, some topics to share with people, a nice quiet place to record, or just anywhere to record, just go for it. It's very fun, and I don't really tell anyone this, but in a way, it's very therapeutic. Like, you really, really get to learn more about people and yourself and what's going on, and just really, really take a good evaluation of basically your whole world while having someone involved in it. If it's like I don't mean to make this sound crazy or anything. It's just You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all true. That's all kind of the reason I want to do it. And the way I kind of thought about it is it's almost like I'm going to be making videos too, just separately, kind of like video journals, updating on just like my life, because I'm starting some new stuff. Like, for example, I just started reading the Bible. I'm doing a full read through. I'm going to be doing like video essays on just summarizing what I learned and stuff like that, and just keeping tabs. But all of it's really just to have like fruitful conversations and just have it somewhere where we can pull it up anytime and refer to it in case we said something that was very, useful for the future. So we don't forget, because part of it too is just I have a terrible memory, just over time it's deteriorated very badly. But yeah, it's exciting. It really is. I have noticed a lot of my friends say they want to do podcasts and they say they're interested, and we'll see if it comes time to it, if they want to talk. I have a lot of shy friends though. I'm kind of usually the one that's like, just go for it. But yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, man. It's just even if they're shy, just try to like really, like slowly get them into it. And they open up. I have some friends who are like busy as hell and like always got shit to do, but like they're more than happy to jump in some episodes and talk with some people, because like we're in a group together, but like they have school, they have work, and then blah blah blah, and then blah blah blah. But I'm very excited. One of our members, Rain Boris, is when he has time, I'm gonna be talking with these high profile spirituality content creators, or just basically people who are very infused with spirituality, and then I'm going to be talking some controversial topics such as the black pill, the red pill, and then anti-Semitism. I can't say it right now, but you probably know what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the very heavy subject that I want to touch on lightly and correctly, but it's going to be a very, very heavy set of subjects next year, but I can't wait. So with the remaining time that we do have, is there anything you want people to just know, look up, any awareness you want to bring to the spotlight, Ali, before we close this episode? I'm all ears.
Well, something for hopefully if some new fans are listening. My Spotify is kind of what I go to, because it's the streaming service that I use for all my music. So it's kind of what I check for where my music is. But I'm on all platforms, on Apple Music, all the ones that you might have. And I've tried to make the last few EPs. The first 4 are kind of all following the same theme, and I invite you to check it out and kind of see which direction I'm headed, and to just follow for more updates and stuff, because I have a lot more coming out. I'm always coming up with ideas, and I'm on YouTube as well. I just made a few videos on there, one to promote the $1 Foundation, and a couple other just silly ones, and then TikTok, I'm on Instagram and stuff like that. So just keep eyes open for me. I'm still doing stuff, never stopping this. I feel like this is my life journey now, so if you're ever curious and want to check up on me, I invite you to do that, because I also love to communicate with people. So if you have ideas, if you like anything you hear, you want to help out, give some suggestions, I'm fully open to that. I want to, create a community of people who are like-minded and kind of want the same things. So I guess, that's it. That's kind of my plug, myself. This shameless plug.
No problem, man. It's your episode, you're a guest, and it's a pleasure to have our audience know more about you. Links to Ali's music, to Save the Children donations, and the topics, articles that are mentioned in this episode will be provided in this description. Make sure you check out this week's episode coming out this Friday. This is Morgan. I'm your host for the Maje tic Mindz podcast. We have new episodes from Mondays to Fridays, semi-weekly, or just whenever I feel like uploading, from 9:30 or 12 a.m. everywhere else. This is Morgan, and this is our guest, Ali. We will see you next time. Bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Morgan.